Hey y'all, welcome back to another video with laughs, gags, and gossip. Now let's get into the mess. Hey family, welcome back to the channel, Celebrity Scandalous. Tonight we are going to be talking about Nicki Minaj, man. Nicki is really, so for those of you who don't know, for those of you that are new to the channel, I have been a Nicki fan for years. But it looks like Nicki is becoming unhinged and she's in her crown is tilting and it's slowly sliding off of her head, you know. So what I want to talk about is the fact that over the last week since Megan Thee Stallion has come out with his dissing a lot of people, it looks like only Nicki Minaj is the only one, the queen of rap, you know, self-proclaimed queen of rap, is the only one that is losing her marbles behind it. And it's one thing to respond, because I remember what with her and Remy, was it Ether, Sheether? I can't, you know, I'm just kind of, that was some years ago. But I remember when Remy came after her and it took her a minute to respond. And even when she did, it was still kind of lackluster. Of course, you know, fans were going back and forth saying, you know, who won, which at that time, everybody sided with Remy. But in this instance, it's just like Nicki is showing a side that I would have never expected from her. You know, this whole coming for Megan's mom is literally just hidden below the belt. I mean, I think most people are agreeing, whether you're a Nicki fan or not, whether you're a Barb or not, it's just too much. You know, the fans are getting crazy. The Barbs are out there, you know, this whole thing about, you know, going to Meg's mom's gravesite. That's crazy. I mean, that's like so, that's like from a horror story, you know, that's just crazy. And then not only is Nicki responding, but it's like the Energizer Bunny. She's going on and on and on. It's like a person at her level, you would expect her to be more poised than that. You know, give us the rap, deliver your lyrics, and move on. You know, slay the girl. That's what we're expecting you to do. That's what we want to see you do. But Nicki is showing us that, I mean, it's almost like she's losing it. It's embarrassing for those of us who have been Nicki fans. And I'm going to say, I'm not straddling the fence, but I like both of them. As I said before, I came up with Nicki when my daughter was younger. We used to listen to her music. Somebody said, wait, hold on. Let me see. James is saying Nicki bye. I mean, you know, I've been a Nicki fan. Like, when my daughter was younger, we could listen to Pink Friday and I wish this moment could last forever. I mean, we could listen to Nicki lyrics. She was pretty. She was, you know, she was a pretty girl. She was popular. Like, I will say mid 2000s, like 2010 and all of that. Nicki was it. She was the ish. I even dressed up like Nicki for one of my daughter's Halloween parties at school. Okay. Nicki was the woman. But now it's like she is falling off, seriously. You know, everybody used to talk about her lyricism. You know, she was killing the game. She had Drake and everybody supporting her, of course, you know. But Nicki really could deliver. But fast forward to the Nicki of late, I was saying, you know, I'm not a Barb. You know, like I said before, I only stand for one person, and that's my own child. Okay, I just I'm too damn old to be fanning out over anybody. But you know, since this marriage thing to her husband Petty, it's like there's been somewhat of a decline in her popularity and just her overall persona and how the public is feeling about her. I mean, I'm surprised that Nicki did not know or have the emotional intelligence to know that marrying somebody with a history like his, with a criminal record like that, was going to have some impact on her career, you know? Regardless of who she married, I'm still a Nicki fan. Now, her choice in her husband, that's on her. Not my man. I ain't got to sleep with him and snore up in his face. So that's on her. But it's amazing to me as you know, in this last week, just kind of revisiting Nicki of old, like I'm hearing and reading articles that she just obviously does not understand the fact that you married a felon. And to be honest, what he has been accused of is one of the things that people really despise more than anything. You could do a lot of crimes, you know, in this world, but being a, you know, what he is considered kind of like one of the lowest. I mean, for most women, we're scared of men like that, you know? And you can't say that he did or didn't do it because he was convicted of it. So, you know, he's convicted of it. So you got to say he's guilty. That in and of itself, people are scared of people like that. And that's who you chose to marry. So you got to kind of go with, that just goes with the territory that a lot of people are not going to be comfortable around him. People are going to view you differently. And especially a woman of your caliber, to reach the heights that you've reached with your music career, with your money. I mean, you're in an elite status of rappers, and this is who you choose to marry, a convicted felon. So of course people are going to talk about that. Of course it's going to impact how people perceive you. It's just like when we saw Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown when they started doing that reality show, like the Whitney that we had put on a pedestal and like, oh, you know, she's got the voice. Well, she always had the voice. But when we saw her real life, like she lost a lot of fans and she lost a lot of credibility. It just kind of gave us another sign, and her, you know, career started to tank. I mean, we had heard stories about her. It's one thing to hear about a person, but to go behind the scenes and really go into their house and see how they really living kind of raggedy, it kind of changes the perspective. So I think this is what happened to Nicki once she married, you know, her husband. And it's caused a lot of fallout. Like fans are able to talk about it. And of course, rappers are going to take a chance to take a hit at her, like Megan Thee Stallion with this whole Megan's Law rhyme. I mean, that was brilliant. Megan's Law, that legislation has been out for at least 10 or 15 years. I'm almost going to say 20 at least. And listen, she's never used it before, but I think she got tired of Nicki kind of poking at her. So she used it, and it was brilliant. It was a good lick. You know, Nicki has a couple people, her husband as well as her brother. So she took a jab at her. But the response, Nicki, this whole thing about, you know, that, come on now. That, for most of us, just went a little bit too far. It's like, you are supposed to be the one with the pen. And is that the best you could do? Because I think most of us would be traumatized losing a parent. Both of my parents are still alive. Thank you, Lord. But for those who aren't, I have a lot of empathy, sympathy, and I understand it's probably one of the most tragic things that can happen to a person. And it's crazy that Nicki would even go there when her dad was unalive. Like, that has me scratching my head. Like, you don't throw a stone at somebody that's been already thrown at you. It's like, huh? You know, so that's kind of weird. Like, I really didn't understand that. But a lot of people, like I said, are going against Nicki. You see more and more celebrities coming out, well, rappers and people just kind of joining forces and talking about it. But did you guys hear today? There's a rap going around, and they're saying it's Megan's sister. Now, I never heard that Megan had a sister. I know I always thought that she was an only child. But this rap is going around, and I saw it on TikTok, so I'm gonna play a little bit of it, and let me know what you guys think of it. So let me share my screen. And it's like she's coming for Nicki's neck, you know? I mean, Nicki, is like people don't like what you did, and so people are coming to Megan's defense. I know some people are saying that there was a rumor that started yesterday that the Barty gang had joined in, and that they were saying that they were going to go and dance on Nicki's dad's grave. But then there's, you know, people are countering that, saying no, it really wasn't the Barty gang. It was the hotties trying to come out and drag Cardi into this mess. And I say, look, Cardi got her own stuff. Leave Cardi and her folks out of this. This don't have nothing to do with Cardi B. We trash talk Cardi enough, but she does not have anything to do with that. And I know Lotto came forward and was supporting Megan. But anyway, you guys check out this rap. Let me know what you think. Okay, let me do the screen share. Let me see. I think this is it right here. Okay, share. Okay. How the hell you got so many wins, but so afraid to lose, afraid to see another rap bitch come in the game and be as great as you? That shit you did to Kim, they'll eat away at you. That's why you hold that crown so tight, afraid somebody gon' take it away from you. Ain't nobody touching your invisible crown, and you still complaining, bitch. What the fuck you want now? And why for you to talk about somebody's mother who died when your own father tried to take your own mother life? Oh, you should be thanking God he didn't burn her alive. Instead, you think that you's a god because you so sick in the mind. Don't give a fuck about how good of a rap you can rhyme. Y'all don't let this cokehead cross too many lines. Don't give a damn about her fame or your life in the line. Cause y'all be giving bitches praise and I just don't idolize. And I won't even mention shit about your man being a pedophile. Cause you're the only one that got that man around a fucking child. If he's a pervert, you the one who gotta fuck him now. So it don't bother me, you fucking niggas who a fuck a child. Ooh, mama always told me I should watch my mouth. But first I gotta get these demons out the fucking house. Now that you sold all the records you could sell, I think it's time that you finally sent Roman ass back to hell. You say you the shit? Well, I ain't never liked how shit smell. Time to read on a bitch like Braille. AOL still send the queen quick mail. Dear Your Majesty, we people would like to thank you for your many years of services. However, right now we are more concerned with you having a public mental breakdown. I believe it's best for you to step down. Go to rehab. Fake ass, itty bitty bully. How you calling bitches big when you never develop fully? Is that the okay, as y'all can see, I wasn't showing the video, so I'm gonna play it one more time. Okay, so I'm gonna start it over. So afraid to lose, afraid to see another rap bitch come in the game and be as great as you. That shit you did to Kim, they'll eat away at you. That's why you hold that crown so tight, afraid somebody gon' take it away from you. Ain't nobody touching your invisible crown, and you still complaining, bitch. What the fuck you want now? And why for you to talk about somebody's mother who died when your own father tried to take your own mother life? Oh, you should be thanking God he didn't burn her alive. Instead, you think that you's a god because you so sick in the mind. Don't give a fuck about how good of a rap you can rhyme. Y'all don't let this cokehead cross too many lines. Don't give a damn about her fame or your life in the line. Cause y'all be giving bitches praise and I just don't idolize. And I won't even mention shit about your man being a pedophile. Cause you're the only one that got that man around a fucking child. If he's a pervert, you the one who gotta fuck him now. So it don't bother me, you fucking niggas who a fuck a child. Ooh, mama always told me I should watch my mouth. But first I gotta get these demons out the fucking house. Now that you sold all the records you could sell, I think it's time that you finally sent Roman ass back to hell. You say you the shit? Well, I ain't never liked how shit smell. Time to read on a bitch like Braille. AOL still send the queen quick mail. Dear Your Majesty, we people would like to thank you for your many years of services. However, right now we are more concerned with you having a public mental breakdown. I believe it's best for you to step down. Go to rehab. Fake ass, itty bitty bully. How you calling bitches big when you never develop fully? Is that the reason why your nigga play with the kitty? Is he the reason why your grown ass act silly? Fuck a rat, bitch, you need to get slapped, disrespectful. You's an evil hoe in the whole world with you. See a woman winning and somehow it upsets you. Okay, y'all. So, I mean, to me, that was fire. I mean, she really came for Nicki. And that line where she said, how you gonna talk about somebody when your dad almost, burnt your mom? I mean, that's like, come on now. Nick, I don't think you thought this through. And then she brought up the lady in the rap. She brought up the fact that people think you out there doing, powder, girl. I mean, at first, she did admit to doing the pills and stuff. So, okay. She admitted to that. So we know that you may have a propensity to do what you do. And I'm not knocking it because I know in the entertainment industry, they do a lot of stuff. But now with this latest, a whole week of back to back, that's unhinged behavior. Come on. You know how somebody, I've never done that. So I really don't know, like, what happens when you go on a binge, but I have heard about it. And there are people in my family who have done it. And it's almost like she was on a run where she just couldn't stop. Like all of this ish was like oh my God, I got to just talk. And then not only did you release the diss track, the response, but hell, you gave it to us before you even released it. So it was no surprise. It was no punch to it. It was like, oh, this is some regurgitated stuff that you said 2 days ago. I mean, what is going on? And I'm really surprised because usually, isn't there supposed to be like a PR person, a strategist, or somebody to tell you, oh, this is what you can and can't do. Now, in terms of lyrically and her responding on her diss track, like, do say whatever you want, but where's your team to tell you, hey, you can't be tweeting, you can't be out here going on Clubhouse just talking out of your ass? Because pretty much that's what people were saying. Like, we have never seen, well, Nicki does go off sometimes, but I think this time it really showed a different side of her, and it let people see, how human she was. In that, girl, Megan got you all up in your feelings. Megan got you pressed. That's what we are seeing. Megan got you pressed and stressed. The more people are talking about it and pointing out different things, it's starting to look worse. Also, now they're also talking about the fact that she's been shading Jay-Z and Beyonce. Now, before this Megan diss, Nicki had a song that came out where she was talking about where she kind of made a comment about Beyonce, and I think that was B with the T that did something that had a video about that. So let's go check that out real quick. Yeah, so this came out a few weeks ago. So it's like she's been looking for a reason to call them out anyway. Let me go here. Y'all got to bear with me because I haven't done this for a minute. So I'm moving a little slow. Okay. Let's see. Share screen. Okay.
Basically saying they didn't have the same say. Now, she just released a new song featuring Future called Press Play, where she references Beyonce and basically saying they didn't have the same upbringing. So the lyrics go, they said, why can't you Beyonce? Daddy wasn't no businessman and mama wasn't no business owner. And this is how fans responded. Nicki is kind of stupid for this because no part of Nicki's life was familiar with Beyonce before she got famous. What correlation did Beyonce's upbringing have to do with hers? Bringing her up out of nowhere is so sinister. Beyonce didn't eat out of a bin. Okay, so now what? Nicki is still wrong. She could have also said she's not Beyonce because she doesn't have her talent or work ethic. Omission is a form of a lie. The bar is not about B's success. It's about people comparing them when Nicki be going off and how she presents/represents her brand. I mean, was Beyonce's dad a businessman and was her mom a business owner? I love B and Nicki. I don't think it's shade to B. She just saying if her dad, RIP, was a businessman and if her mama was a business owner, she could be as big as B. But I don't know. Y'all go off. So what do y'all think? Do you
Okay. So again, why are you referencing Beyonce? Why are you saying if I had this, if my life was like this, I would be like that? I mean, there are a lot of what ifs in this world. The bottom line is you didn't have Beyonce's life and you still are famous. You still succeeded. So what was the point? Why even reference Beyonce? It's sort of like the same thing that Beyonce got called out on when she referenced the Jackson family. The little dig Beyonce took at Janet Jackson saying, I wasn't raised like Janet. I was my family was upper class and all that stuff. It's like there's no need to reference other celebrities. You are a celebrity within your own right. Talk about your own life. So it looks like it looks like Nicki is going out making enemies all over. I mean, she's already known for her beefs. And that's part of the game. Cardi, Remy, Meg, Taylor Swift. I mean, we can just go on and on. But it's like now at your juncture, at this stage in the game, her age, her years of experience, you would think that she would carry herself as more of an elite artist. Like she should be aging into something else. Now, this is something I want to talk about. So I've been hearing a lot of debates about, she's the older one. She should act a certain way. She should be supporting the younger women. And I agree with that. I mean, but that's all a personal choice. Once you get to a certain level in your career, it would seem that you would be more collaborative because you are secure in what you've done. I don't know how many years she's been in the game, at least over 15 years at least. I'm assuming something like that. So at this point, with all the accolades, with all the awards, the money and everything, you would think that she would not be, not that she would be less competitive, but that she wouldn't be so threatened. What we're seeing is a woman that's very threatened. And now she has worked with some of the new girls, but she always seems to fall out. Like she can't, that's one of the things that Cardi was praised for. I mean, Cardi's kind of newer to the game than Nicki, but it's like you have secured your position. We know your history. You have lasted. The ladies have to, in order for somebody to really beat you, I mean, the numbers can be there because they're, popular now, but you have longevity in the game. You've done it. So why the insecurity? So my point is that people are talking about age, this whole thing with ageism and Nicki's getting too old. I feel like at a certain age, as with any sport, as within any position, as with anything in life, things change. Your era ends. You have to prepare for the future. There aren't many things in life that you could do for 50 years, 30 years and be at the same level in your game, period. Even Beyonce, things are going to change. We saw Madonna. All of these people who were at the heights of their careers have to make changes. So if you're no longer the bad bee, you're no longer the top rapper, then you should be doing something else. You should be producing. Like Beyonce has those two girls, Chloe and Bailey, whatever their names are. I'm sorry. You know who I'm talking about, y'all. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the sisters. What are you doing to diversify yourself so that you don't feel so threatened and competitive with the new people? Everything ages out. Basketball players, your body is different. Football, all of this stuff. So Nicki, come on now. Everything changes. The new people are coming up, the younger crowd, the young folks. It's a whole different era. It's a different vibe. Much respect to you. And not that you're over or done with, but there are other people who can shine just as bright as you, Nicki. I mean, and I think that's where people are really starting to sour on her, because I remember, some years ago, where she was saying the industry was against her and she was being blacklisted and all that stuff. I remember her and Siley had the issue. Was good. Siley was good. All of that stuff. Nicki being Nicki. And, a lot of us, who were fans, it's like, okay, yeah, she right. They going to Joe Budden. Everybody gets Charlemagne. People just going against Nicki. But now, and calling her a B, and she don't work well with others. And so we give her a pass because the music is good and all of this stuff. But now we're like years and years, and we're seeing the same pattern, and we're not seeing any growth, and we're not seeing any maturity. And now it's starting to get old, and people are starting to say, yeah, man, it's you, right? And I think that's what's happening. People are really Nicki fan or not. I love Nicki's music. Like I said, for years, it was the soundtrack of my daughter's, elementary school life, upper middle school, But it's at what point does Nicki mature a little bit? Step over, step aside. Let's collab. Like, do we have to beef like that? And so this whole thing with Megan, like, just the low blows was a bit much for a lot of people. Now I'm going to take it back. So what I was talking about yesterday was the fact that the last time we saw something, well, me personally, because I was around, and when Tupac and Biggie, when all that stuff went down. So that was the first time that, as they say, shit got real, right? Because 2 people lost their lives. But I remember when Tupac was alive, he was even trying to tell gang members, because Pac, he was just so prolific to me. He had a message. He was saying, in all things that we do, there are rules of engagement, So he was trying to tell, he was trying to broker some peace with the gang members in Los Angeles. And somebody probably could tell that story way better than me. But I remember him talking about rules of engagements and things that we should and shouldn't do. What he was telling the young men is like, hey, if we gonna be out here beefing and unaliving and pow-powing, although they shouldn't be doing it, he was like, let's watch out for the ladies and the babies. Like, don't be shooting in crowds with women and children. He was just trying to give them some rules of engagement. And so I remember back in the day when people talked about rap, they talked about what was acceptable and what wasn't, and how you could win a rap battle, or that was whack, man, you went too far. And so I'm going to just share something now. This is from probably some years ago, but it still is, to me, it still makes sense, because whatever you do, there should be some rules. And I think Nicki broke one of the rules, but about rap beef. So let me share my screen. And it is this is something I found, because I just kind of remember years ago, I was not like a student of rap, but kind of my era and everything when it came up, years ago. And so this article talks about like when the battle rappers, and they used to have like before we had like all the social media stuff, it would be stuff on like BET and MTV, and they would get little snippets where you would see they would be in like these little clubs, and they would be mainly, I think it was more like in New York and stuff, and like basements and stuff. I guess like that movie that Eminem was in, like 8 Mile, it would be a scene like that where you would actually literally see them battle rapping back and forth, right? And excuse me, I'm sorry. And so when they would talk about it, it would be like, okay, before we start this, you could do this, you can't do that, just kind of loosely what's acceptable and how are we going to determine who the winner is. And one thing that I found, which that's not what I wanted to show, which I thought was interesting, was there's a statement right here. I don't know if you guys could see it. Let me see. I'll read it. And it says, so basically they're going through the unwritten rules of battle rapping. And it's like, you have to have a rhyme. You can't reuse bars. You can't use others' bars. And he goes on to list. And it says, what else? I would argue that those, and this is what's highlighted, this is the point I want to make. I would argue that those are the universals, but that some unwritten rules like no bars about deceased family or friends or about medical conditions. See what I'm saying? Rules of engagement. Everything, even when you're boxing, there are rules about how you can hit your opponent. There, and that determines who the winner is. A low blow, you're not getting a point for that. And so this to me shows that Nicki is not following the rules of engagement. Like, yeah, I mean, what she said was catchy. Of course, her supporters are going to say that she bodied Megan, but did you really? Because if you had to go that low to talk about this girl's deceased mom, can you really say you bodied her? Or did you just hit a low blow? Is that even rap? What skill is that? Me personally, I had a beef with somebody years ago. Okay. Me and this girl hated each other. And I don't want to say hate, because I'm going to say 1 degree less than hate, because you ain't supposed to hate nobody. But it was pretty bad, and it was concerning my daughter. So, like our Kelly say, anybody knows me knows how much I love my baby, okay? So anything pertaining to my daughter, it's a problem. So this one lady that I was kind of going back and forth with, we would insult each other. Again, I was younger, y'all. Blame it on the age, and it was just a really bad situation. And both of her parents were deceased. My parents are still alive. And I knew that her life had been kind of rough based on her upbringing and the fact that both of her parents had, died, and that, she just kind of had a rough life based on the fact that her parents were deceased. It crossed my mind a couple of times to say some sideways-ish about that situation, right? Because when she would piss me off, like we were going back and forth, emails, talking to people. But the one thing I never did is, as mad as I got and as low as I wanted to go, you know how people say, you go low, I'm going to hell, I'm going to go lower. That's the one thing I never did. I never threw her parents in her face, or there's, the fact that they were deceased, because I knew that if I crossed that line, the wrath of hell that, would be upon me. I believe there are boundaries. I believe there are things that you can and cannot say. And to me, talking about somebody's deceased parents in that vein, man, you have opened up the gates of hell and negative karma on yourself. Seriously. So, I mean, in terms of Nicki and everything that's going on, I just feel like Nicki is slowly falling from grace, and it's kind of giving me the Kanye West situation. You know how Kanye, said all this stuff and how he was a billionaire one day, and then 2 days later he was just a millionaire and then a thousandaire. Sometimes your mouth never gets so high that you don't think you could be, your position can't be taken from you, and it's just like she's starting to do things that are possibly going to impact her brand deals. Nobody likes to be associated with this kind of stuff. I'm sorry, because it's going to spill over into her corporate life. When you start having people saying that they had to hire extra security at a gravesite because the barbs are threatening to dox and all this stuff, it's gone beyond a fun rivalry to something that's dark and scary and sadistic and not cool. And from what I remember rap to be, it wasn't that. And we see too many young Black males losing their life behind some of this rap stuff. And so for Nicki to engage to this level at her big age in life, it's just kind of sad. It's like we expect more from you, Nicki. Queen Nicki, seriously? You can't stand the queendom acting like that. You know what they say, the queen don't get out of her chariot to throw tomatoes at peasants. But that's exactly what you're doing, because you're not meeting Megan on her level. Now you're talking about her deceased mom. What does that have to do with anything? I mean, you're bigger than that. You're more clever than that, So anyway, y'all, I was just on here wanting to talk about that because, I'm just surprised that this is going on and on and on. You would think that after a week of this that it would die down, but it looks like every day there's some new information coming out. There's a new artist going against Nicki, and, that she is tarnishing her own legacy. First, it was the marriage. And people were like, okay, I think, people kind of settled into that. Some, her fans were still like, yeah, we wouldn't have picked him for her. But okay, they have a family now. She's got the baby. And we're wishing her the best. Then the guy gets into trouble where he didn't file and all that stuff. Because, again, that whole thing about Megan's Law, that's a Megan's Law issue. You got to register. People got to know where you are. They got to know what neighborhood you living in. We got to be able to go to that website. I've been to that website and see. Actually, I saw somebody that I knew. Well, it wasn't a personal, but somebody's husband, that a woman that I knew, her husband was on there, which I had no clue. It was like, what? Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But we got to know who are the predators. Who, we got to know who's living by us, right? So Kenneth failed to register when they moved to California, whatever. That's a problem. So now, not only did she marry him, now we got legal issues. Then we got Jennifer Huff. It's given her life is more controversial and it's taken more precedence over the music. And now that somebody kind of was able to call you out a little bit, Megan, you know, with the whole Megan's Law, that you became unhinged. You can't be mad at her for using a bar against you that, I mean, you did it. And it's not like she lied. You know, so now, you know, Nicki's coming out saying all this stuff about Rock Nation and all these people are against her. Man, keep it on the wax. Keep it to what it is. You know, everybody got a hard time. Those of us that work, hell, people on our job be coming for us. Now you taking it. It's like everybody's against me. Nicki, come on, man. It's just not looking cute no more. You know, it's just not. So anyway, y'all, that's my time on the mic tonight. Okay. Hopefully I'll see you guys again, but thank you for listening and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.